Hey, what's up, Joe? This is a quick demo video for you for your custom saber from Kennedy Custom Props. Hey, what's up, Joe? So here it is. This is the Kyle Katarn inspired custom saber by Adam over at Kennedy Custom Props. Installed with a Proffie. You didn't give me much direction. You just kind of let me do my thing and asked for a metal sleeve. That's kind of all that you mentioned. So I do appreciate you letting me kind of go my own way with this. This is pretty cool. I don't usually get to do stuff like that, so it was a very fun project. I think I got this in the mail day before yesterday, so Friday, and then buttoned it up this morning. There are some modifications that I did to the hilt, not anything to do with other than the fact that I needed to fit the install that I did on it, right? So if I were to just keep this one crystal chamber, I wouldn't have had to do anything. But since I put a secondary one in here, I did do some mods. All right, but first of all, running a Carl Chen V4 Neopixel connector. So that's that right there, and we'll light that up. You have this exposed crystal chamber, which is very cool. So it has its own Neopixel accent. One thing that was on this saber was that to take the handle off, you had to take both of these brass greeblies off. What I ended up doing was I made this aesthetic, and this one right here is actually the one that you use to take the handle off now. And the reason I did that is right here. I'll show you. This is a 2-button setup, by the way. So front button will be power, back will be auxiliary. All right. But once you unscrew that, you don't have to ever unscrew this. In fact, I think I cut the threads down, screwed it in, and glued it in from the inside, so it stays there. Now you can take this off here and put this off to the side, and this is what you've got. Now this piece right here originally from Adam was a bit longer. I think it came to about right here or so. So obviously I shaved it down. You know, when I shaved it down, I got rid of that second hole for the other greebly, and that's why we just used the one. I put a secondary chamber in here, so this is machined out of brass, right? It's got a real quartz crystal in there, just a few random greeblies that I like to use in my chambers here with some springs and whatnot. Try to make it different than what you had in there already. Plus, you know, crystal chambers, when people make them, they are just something that, you know, people do on their own. You don't try to ever copy anything. You don't try to copy anything in general, but yeah, my own crystal chamber in there, but they are facing the same way. And this particular one you can see from either side. All right, moving down here, you've got the aluminum sleeve for the chassis. This does not come off. It doesn't have to come off anyway. If you wanted to take it off, you could undo that grub screw right there technically and slide this off. I wouldn't suggest doing that though. This is a pretty cram-foo build. I did laser etch Kennedy Custom Props over here for Adam, and then I laser etched my own logo in here too to try to keep it nice and clean, but I did go back and weather it a little bit. All the other marks are just some random milling marks that I was doing to play around. You do have a 15 pixel accent strip right here, and that is because in this handle right here, you have a cutout. Now, I was going to take this shroud off and put a piece of Mylar diffusion material underneath that mesh that you have going on, but when I unscrewed this, it was a little bit hard to take off. I wasn't sure what was going on back there. I didn't want to break it, so I opted to not do that. But you may want to do that if you know how this comes apart, because you did the modifications with the wood veneer and some inlays and whatnot. If you can get this shroud off, I would suggest putting a piece of Mylar diffusion material underneath that mesh. It kind of helps hide the individual pixels when they're all lit up. All right, so that's what we did there. If you look over here, you've got access to your kill switch and then your SD card and your micro USB. So everything is accessible from right here. This obviously has a speaker pod, and let's talk about the speaker pod. So I went ahead and I remade the pommel, and the reason I did that was because the secondary crystal chamber that I put in took up the space that I would have had for a speaker. All right, and this is the original pommel that came with it. I think Adam did a really cool job. He made his sound venting come through here, cut into these grooves. I opted to do a little something different. I needed to put a speaker pod in here. This one is solid, obviously, right? So if you look from the outside, I I did try to keep the aesthetic as much as I could, though his grooves are a little deeper than mine, and the reason for that is I chose to make my sound venting through here. So I opened this up for sound because I'm using a 22mm Smokers Outpost Nano Elite speaker, and I wanted that to shoot right out the back. All right. Although you can take this out by removing this screw and finding a hidden grub screw, I don't suggest doing that. I had to line this up perfectly straight, lock it in there a certain way so that the PCB pins for the speaker in there touch these pogo pins in a particular kind of way. So I would just suggest, please just leave that alone. All right, but I did try my best to keep that aesthetic so that the Saber looked the same. I'll send this back in your kit in case you want to do anything with it. All right. After all that, oh, it does have a removable 18350 battery. Let me get a tool real quick. It's a bit of a tight fit in there. What I usually do is just come in here with a pair of tweezers, pop the battery out like that. You will see some wiring behind there. My apologies for that. This is a super tight build. And I went with some different battery contacts than I normally use, but it is running an 18350. You'll want to give that a full charge. This is a brand new battery, but this leaf spring right here is the negative side of your battery. When you put it in, put it straight in, just pop it in, and it's meant to stay in. You will not have any problems with that staying in. All right, we'll come over here and flip the kill switch. You'll start seeing some things happening. All right, you've got a slow scroll here when the Saber's off. Both of your crystals are doing a little something different. Now you have my sound font. You have two of my sound fonts on here. You have my normal one that I give out, which is the Apologize font. And then you also have my Scrap Tech font that my buddy Keenan over at Kasith made for me that I have not shown off yet. I put that on here for you. I hope that you like it. I'm in the middle of getting a blade style made for that right now from Brian Connor. That's why I haven't done a demo on it yet. But you can put the handle on, put that brass greebly on, come over here and hit power. Now you see if you've got that Mylar diffusion material in there, you won't see the LED strips. It'll just be a complete light up. So yeah, that is something I would suggest doing. I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to ruin your work. All right. Speaker sounds really good. That is the Apologize font, and the Scrap Tech font is in green.
Scrap Tech.
It has a bit of a delayed ignition, which is really cool. Let's put a blade in the sky. This takes a 1-inch diameter blade. All right, so we'll back this up. When backing this up, please, this is your blade retention, not this. This is holding in your PCB holder. Please do not mess with that guy. Only mess with this one. All right, so we'll put a blade in this guy. Hold that down and lock it down. Hit power. So 4 sounds. Play your soundtrack, do a long press on the power. All right. Do another long press to turn it off. We'll go to the other one. That one's lighting a blade up very nicely too. So we'll go ahead and take the blade out of this guy and we'll break it back down a little bit, which is easy to do. If you wanted in the future to get a greebly that goes here instead of a grub screw, you would essentially have a saber that took no tools at all. All right, but anyway, just come over here and take this one off. We'll pull this off. We'll turn it on, but you won't hear anything, obviously. But you'll see this ramp up. Now, when the saber's on, both of your crystals go solid, but they do react to the auxiliary button being pressed. All right. And then when we want to turn it off, we'll just flip it off from the kill switch here, and it kills power like it should. I'll send it with this battery, of course. But that is basically your custom saber from Kennedy Custom Props. Let me know if you have any questions. And being that it is Sunday today, I will get this out in the mail to you first thing Monday morning. All right. Thanks, Joe.